Well, hello everybody, and welcome back. So, I've been gone for like 3 weeks working on university homework, kind of fell behind, still a little bit behind, but took some time off of work and had some motivation, so I added to the game here. So, I think the terrain needs a little more roughness to it. It's a little too smooth, it's not realistic enough for me. I know it's just a sand game that's pixelated, but I still want it to be as realistic as possible. So now if you look closely at the beaches, you can kind of see some little spikes in there. Then the actual desert has some pretty big dunes, and the grass has little dunes. So I got this because I added a roughness value to the open simplex noise, just so there's an extra layer on top. So the general height map is generated by like the height map variable, and then the roughness of the terrain is more extreme, but it's weighted less, so it has less effect over the overall height. And then I just enjoyed figuring out that sand, since it replaces itself with water, kind of like flows like a hourglass here. I just thought that was kind of cool. But I guess the next step is to add ore generation. Now, ore generation went through a few iterations, just trying to figure out what I want it to look like. So I don't have any ores in the game yet, so I'm just using water. So it's more like a water table, but you can kind of see down there how they all have spikes. That's because the Perlin noise, the open simplex noise, when it goes through its algorithm, if you have everything like kind of close together, it makes like a really smooth arc. And then if you multiply it with something, it just makes it taller. So what I ended up doing was just making two different new noise values, having a ore height map and then an ore roughness or clustering value. So if we go to the next clip here, okay, as you can see that the ore is ore in quotations. It's kind of all over the place. I also added an extra height map to the game, so it's a little bit bigger, so there's more ore to generate, because originally this is what the world would look like. But if we scroll down a little bit, now you can see all of the ore generation. I think I've added a lot to the world generation. And then since the last clip, I added a loading screen, so now it's just a white square in the middle. I'll eventually throw a logo if I decide I want one. I also added music to the game. You might be able to faintly hear it. That took a lot of effort because I had to build my sound engine for the game. I also added snow biomes and different things. I'm not sure if I have any clips of them specifically, but I added more biomes to the game. Snow works differently with its physics. It doesn't quite do anything else, but here's the plague. This is snow. This was just a bug, but I thought it was cool. It's not going to be in the real game, but yeah. And then for the music, it's my friend's music that he produces. So the song that's currently playing, I believe, is Delivery, and the other song that's in the game is Belief Complex. I think the songs just fit really well. I think there needs to be a little bit more mixing to make it more video game orientated, but I'll link him down in the description so you can check him out. The Delivery song is not on his YouTube, that's on a private account. He just gave it to me directly for specifically this game, so that one kind of fits. And then here I added weather cycles, made them a little bit better. So now that the rain evaporates, you can also select the rain. I added the middle click button so you can middle click on any material and get it. So you can get materials that you don't normally are able to get. So you can middle click an air and then you get the air, which is like an eraser. I don't know why you would just not right click, because that's just what that does anyways. And then since the snow biomes and everything were added, and then that's the plague, just showing how it just eats away plants. It duplicates itself too, and it also evaporates over time. It's just an interesting material, I guess. And then here you can just see me going over to a snow biome, and then all the snow just turns into the plague, which I thought was cool. I'm just kind of messing around with the game now. The worlds are bigger. I'm not sure. I haven't rewatched my last video, so I don't know what I've updated so far. I did end up adding a text engine. I think that's the next clip here. You can see there was a lot of issues though. So when I launched the game, the text is garbled. but you can faintly see that there is text there. So I had my alpha levels, it's only going based on alpha, so those were set too high, but you can faintly see the text there, and then all those garbled numbers at the console there, those are the raw data that I'm getting from the image file. So this is a font that I created. It's not a very good font. I'm surprised it came out so well. And then here it's still kind of garbled, so I rechanged the levels, and I think this is my final, this is the final result of the text. I do rotate it because, sideways text isn't the easiest to read, but having the engine, actually, I did recreate the font one more time because it wasn't monospaced, and then I had to flip it vertically. This took me a while to figure out, and it's kind of stupid, because I was flipping the for loops, but I wasn't flipping the text based on itself. I was just indexing through it in different ways, so I wasn't achieving anything new. So then here, I fixed the code, and it's the right way up. Nope, sorry. Here's where I'm messing with the for loops and not actually changing anything. I think this round, next run, then I finally have the text in the right orientation, and then flipped properly. So you can see all the symbols in there, and then if you look really closely, I forgot the letter Z, and when I was going through and messing with the letters, I had Z's in there, and then it kept on coming out as a period. I'm like, why are the offsets broken for Z? It's because I didn't even have it in there. You can see it crashing too. I think if I remember right, the bug was that I just was offsetting it twice. So when I was offsetting it twice, it was just over indexing the list. But here I think I have the text working. I also had to fix my is upper, because if it was lowercase, it would just go off the list anyways. I only have capital letters in my text engine, but here I think I finally fixed it. I think it looks really nice, not to toot my own horn. I'm surprised I am nowhere near an artist, so yeah, I think the text looks nice. It is not the most optimized because it's purely my engine and my creation, but you can't always win them. I'm not sure how interested anyone is on the direct code, but here is all of the image processing that I'm doing. So pretty much I just create an image bitmap object. It just passes in the image directory, so I'll either pass in font or mfont. Monospaced font works better. I did like the normal font, but it's too hard to consistently get that to work without making a different array to see, this letter is this size and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to do monospaced fonts from now on. So it just takes the image width and height, converts it into an int array. Now this integer is special because when it gets an RGB value, it's a really big number because it stores each one of these. So pretty much what I do here is I detect if it is less than or equal to that 200,000. So that's just how big the integer is on its alpha value. So I say if it's 70% opaque, it is going to be a 1, and then if it's not, it's a 0, so it's going to be transparent. And then if I go into the text, I just load the image immediately, so every time I just create one text object, and then I can input as many string things as I want. Now, I only want to create one of these once, so I'll create this once in the file, unless it's a piece of text that I don't mind rendering every single frame, or creating the image for every single frame, because it does take up memory to store all the different text files, but yet it also takes up CPU power when I'm creating these. So it's a battle of optimization of whether I want to save RAM or CPU. So I might have a setting in the game to be like, hey, I have more RAM than CPU power, but here's all the special characters. So what I'm doing is I'm taking ASCII, so I'm converting all the strings into all uppercase since I only have uppercase letters, and then I'm subtracting 65. So 65 is ASCII code for A, and then they go up to whatever 26 of that is. So I have 0 through 26 is the offset of the letter. It's pretty standard stuff where I'm just like, hey, and then I have it, if it's a space, it just ignores all of this. And then I will eventually be adding \n's. That does complicate this because then I can't set this to just be size 10. I need to figure out how many \n's that are inside of the string. \n is new line character for people who do not know, because I would like to have new line characters with inside this language, just so I can minimize displaying as many pieces of text, especially like in paragraphs, just to make it as optimized as possible. So it's a fairly simple system. There's like 60 lines of code. So, and then for the sound engine, it's also extremely simple, where I've just take the file, create an audio object, set the clip, open the file, and then I'll just start the file. And then I have a looping system, so I'll go through different songs. The rain.wave is a horrible sound, but it sounds kind of like rain. It's just a video of me pouring sand into a cup, so I'll show that. I think the next thing in store is to make an actual main menu system to launch the game into, instead of directing to some random world, just so people can select their saves instead of being like, oh, Shift S to save or Shift O to reload your last world. There's also one bug with the last save system where every now and then some particles will jump a layer, like they won't be put in order from the layer that they have been put in. And then you can see the alphabet there. I made it so the scale isn't of the same size of the particles, where it's a defined scale. It's always going to be the same. So I think that just looks really nice too, where it's always consistent, to separate that from grid size to its own value. So I'll be making a main menu system the next week, so look forward to that. Thank you for watching. Like the video, subscribe, or don't, unsubscribe, who cares. It is going to be another few weeks before I make any more videos, because I have a lot of college work to do, and college ends in like 3 weeks, so I'll have more time in the summer. Bye. I was wondering why the Z wasn't working, and then I go into the image file. I forgot to make a Z.